Welcome back, everyone, and I think that today's card chat is going to be interesting to a lot of you. Now, unsurprisingly, many of you guys following my channel have kind of shown yourselves to be collectors and, to a lesser degree, investors in Final Fantasy TCG, and that's understandable because that's primarily what I am. While I would also love to make this channel about the game itself and for the players, unfortunately, I don't like speaking to that because I know I'm personally not very good at the game, considering I've only played a handful of times at the LGS. So I would prefer that you go to some of the other guys on YouTube like Josephier or whoever with a lot more experience on that topic, because I don't want to give you any misinformation and make you lose your games because I suck and you thought I was good and I gave you crappy advice. So if you go on Reddit, there's actually a Final Fantasy TCG content creators like page or something where you can find some of these guys who have really good things to say about how to actually play the game. Now, with that out of the way, today I want to go into a video of a question that many of you keep asking me because I think I've kind of attracted this crowd of collectors and investors. And so many of you keep asking me, what cards should I be investing in? Now, before we start, I just want to highlight that word investing because I've had some people get mad at me and I'm not sure they understand what the word investing means. Investing is buying and holding for the long term. If you're not intending on buying and holding for the long term, you are not an investor. What you are is a flipper, and there's nothing wrong with being a flipper, but it's important not to confuse the two terms because people will say like, what cards should I be investing in? And I'll say, I think you should be investing in Wave 1 cards. I think like Wave 1 Squalls are a great thing to be investing in because they're rare, they're limited run, they'll never be reprinted. This is something that's investable. And then they'll be like, great, I'm going to buy it. And then like 3 weeks later, they'll say like, hey, I bought it for $200. I'm trying to sell it for $300. No one's buying. And I'll say, well, it's been a freaking week. Like, what do you expect? Like I said, it's investable. I didn't say that it's free money. You can't just buy it at whatever price and sell it the next day at double the price. That's not investing. The returns for investing are not measured in days or weeks or even months. They're measured in years. I think that this card will be worth significantly more than it is today in 2019, 5 years from now, assuming that Final Fantasy TCG survives. If it dies off, like I said in many videos in the past, all bets are off. I've seen card games die before. Other card games will die in the future. I've bet that Final Fantasy TCG won't. I could be completely wrong. So before we start, I just wanted to get that out of the way. When you're watching this channel and I say investing, know that I'm talking about a time period of not less than 3 to 5 years. Don't come back to me 1 year from now and say the prices haven't moved because I'm going to say, yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, I didn't say that it would. I said that long term, if you invest in it, I think it will go up. And even then I could be wrong. Never let it be said that I said I was 100% sure or anything. Anyone who ever tells you that they're 100% sure of anything related to investing is full of shit, and you should never take their advice for anything. So with that out of the way, what cards should you be investing in? So number one, I'll go first into what I think you should not be investing in. So, you know, some of you who follow my website and channel know how I feel about meta cards. And what do I mean by meta cards? I mean things like these. These are all, by all means, very powerful cards in play. Like that's just a hero, and that's a promo reprint of it. But I put that out there for a reason. So Wall, Shantoto, I mean, these are powerhouse cards. Like, they're still good to this day. I mean, for God's sake, Shantoto is from OPUS 1, released years ago. I think the foil one you could still get $40 to $50 for. So some people want to play this game, this investing game like Magic the Gathering investing. They're like, I'm going to buy up all the Shantotos and list them up at whatever, 20% more. I'm going to make a killing, right? No, I don't think so, man. Like, don't invest in meta cards. I'm not saying that you won't make money for it, but the thing is, it's so dangerous in FFTCG for a number of reasons. The first reason is, to date, Square Enix has never said anything about any of the sets being out of print. Now, I've heard anecdotal things from people who have relationships with distributors where they say they can't get anymore, so they think it's out of print. But until Square Enix says we're not printing anymore, none of it is technically out of print. And I see some boxes popping up on the Square Enix store recently. I don't know if that's a new print run or just like crap they had in a warehouse. But the thing is, it's dangerous to ever invest in anything that's not out of print as a general rule of thumb. The other thing is that the meta is unpredictable. I mean, these two cards have kind of held their weight in gold the entire time. They've remained powerful, but you never know when the meta is going to change. And to some degree, if you're a great player, attending all the tournaments and you're seeing all the decks and stuff, you kind of have an advantage because you do know where the meta is shifting and you kind of predict what cards to buy beforehand. But in general, it's very risky and not a great way to be investing. I mean, at some point a few months ago, a lot of people thought that someone was buying out the walls because they kind of disappeared from TCG Player and then like popped up again at like double the price. It's very possible that an investor did buy them up and tried to flip them. But in general, it's not a good idea. I've seen the prices on these kind of cards. They do spike, but not by enough to be that profitable. Because a lot of you guys who don't actually flip cards, like I actually flip cards, it is not what you think it is. Like you need to flip for a substantial profit to make money. People think that like, oh, I'm going to buy this card for $40 and I'm going to wait till it spikes to 55 and I'm going to make 15 bucks. No, you're not. No, you're not. Not unless you sell in person at like an LGS. If you're a normal seller selling on eBay or TCG Player or something like that, some people will have their own Shopify store, but then you have to pay fees for that. Let's say I buy this for $40 and sell it for $55. Let's see how much money I make. I buy for $40. I list it on eBay for $55. Someone snaps it up at that full buy it now price. I owe eBay 10%, so that's $5.50 right there for that sale. I owe PayPal 3%, so that's what, like another $1.80 or something. That's $1.80 right there. Then I have to ship it, and if I don't want people to be outraged for sending them a $50 card in a plain white envelope, I have to use a bubble mailer, print the label with tracking, pay for the ink, pay for the paper, pay for the tape. That's another like $3.20 right there. So let's just round. So like 3 plus 2 plus, what was the first one, like $5.50. So basically I pay $11 in fees and shipping and supplies. So I bought the card for $40. I sold it for $55 minus $11. So it's $15 profit minus $11. So I made $4 profit for all that work. And I didn't even count into effect the fact that on eBay or TCG Player, some proportion of your sales you get scammed. If you're operating on those kind of margins, you're going to get hosed and you're not going to be selling cards for very long because you're going to get pissed off eventually because you're going to say, okay, every 100 sales, someone's scamming me. I'm making like 5% profit on my sales. You're getting hosed. It's a waste of time. So anyways, the other thing I want to talk about meta cards, besides none of them being out of print, being hard to make a profit on low profit cards, the other thing is things like Illua. Now, Illua is an awesome card. She's been very popular for a long time. Opus 5 in general has been full of heavy hitters. But the thing is, Illua recently became a promo card. Now, I think the promo cards are awesome. They look awesome and they're worth a lot of money right now. I expect tank heavily. But the non-foil versions are going to be pretty easy to get. I think the full art Illuas will remain kind of desirable for a while if the full foil art Cagnazos and Yunas are any indication. But the non-foil ones are going to be everywhere. And this was a powerful meta card. For a long time, the non-foil hero version of this was anywhere from like $7 to $11. That's a hell of a lot of money for a non-foil hero, but expect the prices of those to tank because the actual players won't need them anymore because everyone getting events will get all these non-foil promo versions of her. Again, if you bought a shit ton of hero Illuas at like $5 each, and then you realize they turn it into a full art promo that's going to be given out at events, guess what? You got massacred. And they can do this stuff not only with promo cards. Don't forget what happened to Genesis and Vivi with Heroes and Villains, where Heroes and Villains was freaking awesome. That was like the most awesome starter deck ever made in perhaps any trading card game. I think it had like 9 legends in it, and like it was crazy. But the thing is, guess what? you had a Genesis that was worth like $20 at one point, a VV that was worth like $10 at one point, and suddenly for a starter deck product that I was able to pick up at like $15, I think, I had 3 of them. At the prices that those cards sold at, if somehow Heroes and Villains didn't affect the price at all, that means with just VV and Genesis, I got what, 20 times 3, 10 times 3, so $90 in cards for $15 just because Square Enix decided they should be reprinted into a starter deck. Again, when people are asking me for advice on investing in meta cards, my answer will always be, I don't really know, I don't think you should do it. Now, I have no doubt that you can make money doing this. I don't personally find that the profit margins are big enough to warrant the risk. I do not waste my time on trying to flip meta cards. I do sell meta cards because I open a lot of boxes. I think if the EV of a box is higher than the cost of the box, it's not a bad idea. Just make sure you don't forget about fees. But in general, I would never buy a bunch of walls from someone with the intent of purchasing it. I mean, the intent of selling it, unless you gave me a crazy price. I mean, if you say you're going to sell me a bunch of foil walls for $5 a piece, of course I'm going to buy them. But if you offer them to me at anything near market price, like say like you're going to sell it to me for $35 instead of $40, I'm going to say, not worth my time. Like I might get scammed. I have to pay for shipping. I have to deal with my time wasted bubble wrapping it and all this crap. Not worth my time. So let me put it on the record out there that I do not invest in meta cards. I do keep them, one copy, actually a play set of them for my like personal collection, but I don't really intend to sell them, at least not any time within like the next 5 to 15 years. One day maybe they'll be worth a lot if Square Enix puts them out of print and we're on OPUS 672 and people want the originals. But they have great collector's purpose if you want to have full sets of everything like I do. But I don't think they're worth flipping. I don't think actually, they might be worth flipping. They're definitely not worth investing in. So that's my talk on meta cards, and I'll shut up about that. So that leads to the question, FFTCG Authority, what do you invest in? If you don't want to invest in any regular cards, what do you invest in? And I think those of you who have followed my channel already know the answer to that. The answer is limited edition cards. Things that are out of print will forever be out of print, to the best of our knowledge. Of course, Kageyama can do whatever he wants. Things where if FFTCG grows, the supply will always be here, and the population of people interested in the cards will always be rising. And, you know, for every 100 new people that come into FFTCG, a lot of them will just be players and not give a shit about collecting, but some proportion of them will want these original cards for their collection. And as this difference grows, the price of these will go higher, basic supply and demand. So what kind of cards am I talking about? Well, first up is things like Gabranth or Laswell. I don't know. What do I have over here? You know, like I keep a couple sealed just for fun. These are the kind of cards where they're not super rare or anything, but the thing is they're limited run. Like Square Enix actually said this was going to be one of the rarest cards ever made. You know, it's still pretty cheap. You could probably get it for like $40 still. But the idea is this one is probably like 5,000 to, I heard some people say maybe up to 10,000 in print. This should be kind of similar. These things, if more people come into the game, there just aren't enough to go around. That contrasts with regular promos that I'm talking about where they just give them away at the LGS for attending and stuff. Those are worth garbage. There's hundreds of thousands of them. Like, don't even bother investing in those. But these limited run promos that are given out, I think the best thing to call them is event promos, which is to distinguish them from LGS prize promos. Event promos are typically cards that are only given out by attending a specific event. And the buy a box promos, ignore those. Those are garbage as well. So first up for investable things are event promos. Get these out of the way. Now, the other thing is Wave 1 cards. Now, everyone who follows my channel knows I love Wave 1 cards, especially Wave 1 errata, because I think those are really special. I think they're very limited and hard to get. And first print runs, if you followed any TCG like Magic the Gathering or I don't know, Pokemon, you know, like Shadowless, things like that. Like the first print cards are always where the money is. The Wave 1 cards had, you know, if you watch my Wave 1 video, kind of like the errata, like the blade crossing the neck, the lower colon placement, all these signifiers of being an original run card. And this is one product where you know Square Enix will never, ever, ever, ever print it again. Arguably, they could reprint this if they felt like it, because there's nothing wrong with the card, but I have never, in all my years of trading card collecting, seen a company reprint error cards just because they want to tank the price of it. It's not going to happen. If it's an error card, they're never ever going to reprint it. That means these are among the most limited Final Fantasy TCG products out there already, and in the future, I think they're going to have a lot of value. Just think of your own collection. Look in your collection and see how many of your cards are actually Wave 1. And that really goes to show you how limited the run of Wave 1 actually was. For those of you who forgot, pretty much if you didn't pre-order an Opus 1 box in the original release, you don't have Wave 1 cards. So again, especially things like the Clouds or the Ramses or Squall's Buried Summoner, this is probably the heaviest hitter right out there right now. The Wave 1 Squalls easily will sell for $300 each if it's in mint condition and you put it on eBay or something. Easily, I can tell you. I sold a couple of them already. So that's Wave 1 cards. Now, the final category is, for me, A prefix cards. A prefix cards. These are just cash. That's not an A prefix card. Get out of here. A prefix cards are the champions of investable products. A prefix cards are always event promos, and they always tend to be the rarest ones. Everyone knows the A001. This was the very first event promo ever made for Final Fantasy TCG. It already sells for like $150 ungraded. I've seen graded ones sell for anywhere from $250 to, I want to say, $400 for a BGS 10. But these have already risen dramatically in price from last year. Last year, remember, if you watch my videos, there were 10 plus on eBay from just one seller, Stripe, for $80. That supply is dried up. People are really looking to collect these cards. A002, I wouldn't even say that's an investable product. It's already has untold value. There are so many people always reaching out to me to try and find one of these. Impossible to find. I can't even put a price on it at this point. I'm pretty sure there's someone out there who would pay $1,000 for this card because it's so damn hard to get. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with this one? And the A003. The A003 is obviously going to be, well, the first distinction is it's supposed to be the last language-specific promo with the Raubon. But the thing is that, yeah, the A cards are always going to be worth a lot, or always going to be investable. They're never reprinted. They're very iconic because of the horizontal printing, although the PR028 kind of ruined that somehow by being a playable card that's the only one printed horizontally. But in general, the rule has been if it's printed horizontally, it's been an A prefix card. And yeah, so anyways, to sum it up, those are the cards I think you should be investing in. A prefix cards, Wave 1 cards, and event-specific promos. Those are limited run, the supply is stable, the supply is static. If the game grows, the value will inevitably go up. Anything like these meta cards, who knows what the hell is going to happen to them. I don't think they're investable at all. I think you should buy them to play them. They're very powerful. Buy them to win tournaments. Buy them to have fun. Don't buy them to make money in the future. I don't think you will. I could be wrong. I can eat my words. And, you know, I don't even give a shit if they go up because I have so many of them. But the point is, I don't invest in them. I don't buy collections that have nothing but meta cards. I buy collections that have Wave 1 cards that I want, A prefix cards that I want, event promos that I want, and I'll get those as part of the deal because I usually want to sell the whole lot. So anyways, for those of you who have been asking me, What do you invest in? What do you think I should be investing in? I hope that really cleared some things up. I hope that you understand my kind of philosophy on buying cards, that I think these are the kind of cards in this messy pile here are the things I find investable. You don't need to ask me if, like, what I think about specific prices on certain cards. Do I think that there are meta cards out there that will spike in price if someone finds a deck that, utilizes it strongly? Of course I do. I think there's no reason why a hero can't go from $2 to $6. The thing is, for me, that's not worth my time on those profit margins. That's not the kind of profit margin I want. A card going from $3 to $6 does not interest me. If you want to sell it on eBay or TCG Player and pay for shipping and stuff, you don't understand that the profit on that is nothing. And the players that are interested in meta cards, they only need a playset at most, so you can't even mitigate the cost of shipping by shipping in bulk. No player's going to buy 30 walls, for example, whereas collectors might buy bulk investable products. So if you have any more questions on kind of like the financial side of selling cards, just let me know and maybe I'll do a video on it in the future. But again, the quick summary of this video is, if you want to invest in Final Fantasy cards, invest in the things that are limited print run. That's the only word that matters when it comes to investing. Limited print run. If it doesn't meet that qualification, it's not investable by default, in my opinion. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I hope this kind of answered a lot of your questions for those of you guys asking me about investing. Leave any questions or comments in the section below. And thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys.